I don't know where you're watching this from. Maybe it's late, maybe you're just doom scrolling, maybe you're hiding in your car for 10 minutes of peace before you go back inside. But stay with me for this, because I almost talked myself out of telling it. If you've ever ignored your gut just to keep the peace, you'll understand exactly how this starts. And yeah, tell me where you're watching from. I'm always curious who these stories actually reach. If you're into real stories, the not so polished kind, the honest kind, you'll probably want to stick around. The weird part is, my marriage didn't look bad from the outside. That's what makes this story so hard to explain sometimes. There wasn't some huge blowout every weekend. No dramatic cheating scandal that everybody saw coming. No holes punched in walls. No wild, toxic mess. It was just stable. Not perfect, but stable. We'd been married 11 years. We had routines, real ones. Not the fake social media kind where both people are always smiling over pancakes. I mean, regular life. I made coffee before he got up because he liked it stronger than I did. He was the one who remembered garbage day. We had little code words for things. If one of us had a rough day at work, the other would bring home takeout instead of asking what was for dinner. We paid bills at the kitchen counter on Sundays. We'd sit outside some nights, not even talking much, just listening to the neighbourhood and letting the day wear off. That kind of life builds trust in a sneaky way. Not because it's exciting, because it feels safe. And I think that's why I trusted him as long as I did. Not because he was so charming or convincing, but because our life had weight to it. Shared habits, shared stress, shared history. When you've seen someone half asleep in mismatched sweatpants arguing with customer service over a cable bill, your brain doesn't exactly go, oh wow, maybe this man is building a second life. People liked us too. That sounds shallow, but it matters. His family thought I balanced him out. My friends said he was dependable. We hosted Thanksgiving twice. We remembered birthdays. We sent the joint Christmas card every year like absolute nerds. It wasn't glamorous, but it felt real. Then little stuff started shifting. And I mean little. He got protective of his phone, but not in some cartoon way, just subtle. Face down more often. Took it into the bathroom, started clearing notifications faster. His tone changed too. Not mean, exactly. Just thinner. Like every question I asked was one question too many. How was traffic? Fine. You still going in early tomorrow? Probably. Nothing you could point to. Nothing that would sound serious if you repeated it out loud. There were other things. Stories that didn't line up clean. A dinner that ran late, even though the restaurant charge posted at 8:14. A random new interest in cologne. A sudden concern with what shirt he was wearing to a meeting for people he'd worked with for 6 years. He'd come home distracted. Then overcorrect and ask me about my day like he was reading from a script. At the time, I explained it away. Work stress. Midlife weirdness. Maybe we were both tired. Maybe I was being paranoid. I think a lot of women do that, honestly. We're taught to be fair, to be reasonable, to not overreact. So we end up gaslighting ourselves before anyone else even gets the chance. Looking back, the first moment I should really paid attention was over something stupid. I was leaving for a solo trip I'd booked months earlier. 4 days in Santa Fe. Just me. I'd had a rough year. My mom's health, work burnout, just life piling up in that slow, boring way it does. And I told him I needed a few days alone. Not because we were in trouble, just because I felt wrung out. He was weirdly supportive of that trip. Too supportive. He helped me compare hotels, told me I deserved it, reminded me to pack the charger I always forgot. At the time, I thought it was sweet. Now I know he was counting on me being gone. 2 nights before my flight, I was on the couch with his iPad because mine was dead. I was looking up restaurant hours, nothing dramatic, and a message banner slid across the top. I still remember how normal my body felt in that exact second. Like my heart didn't race, my hands didn't shake, nothing in me knew yet. Then I read it. Once she lands, I'll move the rest out. She blocked off the whole week for her little reset thing anyway. I stared at it for a second because I genuinely thought I was missing context. Like maybe it was about work equipment or his brother or literally anything else. Then another message came in. Are you sure she won't come back early? And his reply was already there in the thread. No, she never does anything dramatic. That's the good thing. I didn't scream. I didn't throw the iPad. I didn't march upstairs. I just sat there. I reread it maybe 15 times, like the words might rearrange themselves into something less disgusting. That was the reveal. Not one message. The whole thread. An apartment lease. Complaints about me. Jokes about my solo trip. Plans to move money. messages with a woman from his office. Someone whose name I knew, someone he had once described as kind of annoying, honestly. That part almost made me laugh. Be honest. Would you have said something right away? Because a part of me wanted to. A very human part. I wanted to walk upstairs, hold the screen in his face, and ask him if he thought I was stupid. But another part of me knew if I handled it wrong, I'd lose the only advantage I had. And I was not about to blow up my own leverage so he could start lying faster. So I did what probably looked insane from the outside. I put the iPad back exactly where I found it. Then I went upstairs, took off my makeup, climbed into bed, and asked him if he'd remembered to set the coffee maker. He said yes. Then he kissed my forehead like he wasn't planning to erase me from my own life 48 hours later. I didn't sleep much that night, but I did think clearly. That's the part people don't talk about enough. There's this moment after betrayal where you can either drown in the emotion of it or step outside it for a second and protect yourself. And for whatever reason, maybe shock, maybe survival instinct, I got very calm. That's when I stopped trying to understand him and started protecting myself. The next morning, I went to work like normal. At lunch, I sat in my car and called a lawyer my friend had used during her divorce. Not because I wanted revenge, because I wanted facts. I needed to know what I could move, what I could document, what I should leave alone. Then I called the bank. Then I changed the passwords on everything connected to my personal accounts, my retirement, my email, my cloud storage. I downloaded statements. I took screenshots of every message on that iPad and sent them to a new email account he didn't know existed. I photographed the house, the furniture, the safe, the garage. Every asset we had, I documented. I moved sentimental things first, not expensive things, important difference. My grandmother's ring, my passport, my mom's old recipe box, the hard drive with family photos, the little dumb stuff people don't think to save until it's gone. And I told exactly 2 people, my lawyer and my older sister. That was it. No group chat, no vague posting, no crying to mutual friends. I wasn't trying to build a team. I was trying to stay 5 steps ahead. Meanwhile, he kept acting normal. Asked if I wanted him to drive me to the airport, told me to really unplug on the trip, said maybe the space would do me good. That line still gets me. Maybe the space would do me good? Yeah, it did actually. Just not in the way he thought. The morning of my flight, I hugged him goodbye. I let him load my suitcase into the trunk. I thanked him for the ride. At the curb, he kissed me and told me to text when I landed. I said, sure. Then I got through security, sat down at the gate, opened my phone, and blocked him. Not because I was hurt. Okay, no, obviously I was hurt, but that's not why I did it. I blocked him because I knew the second he realised his plan was shifting, he'd start reaching for me. Calling, texting, spinning, apologising, blaming, panicking, whatever version worked best for him. And for the first time in our entire relationship, I understood that access to me was one of the things he valued most. My reaction, my softness, my willingness to hear him out. I was done giving him that, so I got on the plane in complete silence. And honestly, that flight was the first peaceful thing I'd felt in days. In Santa Fe, I did what I came there to do, but for real this time. I walked. I drank coffee alone in the mornings. I sat on a hotel balcony at night and let myself feel angry in small, manageable pieces. Not the movie version anger, just the low, steady kind. The kind that makes your whole body go cold. He tried contacting me from other numbers, email, even LinkedIn, which is truly unhinged behaviour, if you ask me. I didn't respond, my lawyer did. By day 2, the money he planned to move was protected. By day 3, he'd been formally notified not to touch certain accounts or property. By day 4, my sister sent me a screenshot from our front door camera. Him carrying boxes out of the house with that woman behind him. No rush, no panic, no shame. Like he was just following the plan, and weirdly that helped me more than anything. Because once you see somebody relaxed inside their betrayal, it clears up a lot. It tells you this wasn't confusion, this wasn't a mistake, this was intention. When I got home, the house was quiet in a way I still can't fully describe. Not empty, quiet. His shoes were gone from the laundry room, half the closet was cleared out, the charger on his side of the bed was gone, the bathroom drawer looked wider. There was a note on the kitchen counter that just said, "We need to talk." That man had the nerve to leave me a note in my own house like we were in a college breakup. I laughed. I really did, because by then there was nothing left to discuss. The actual confrontation happened 3 days later at my lawyer's office. He showed up looking rough, tired, rattled, trying very hard to act like this had all gotten out of hand. He kept saying things like, it wasn't supposed to happen this way. And I was going to explain, and my personal favourite, I never wanted to hurt you. Which is wild, because he seemed pretty organised while doing exactly that. He talked for maybe 10 minutes straight. Affair fog, confusion, pressure, blah, blah, blah. The usual greatest hits. And I just let him talk. Then I said very calmly, you made a plan for my absence before I ever left. You used my trust as part of your timeline. So no, I'm not interested in your explanation. I'm interested in the paperwork. That was it. No speech. No tears. No dramatic exit. He kept talking, but I was already done listening, and that, more than anything, was the moment I got myself back. Here's the truth nobody loves hearing. I did miss him. Or parts of him. Parts of us. I miss Sunday mornings. I missed having someone to text when the dog did something ridiculous. I missed the version of him that existed before I knew what he was capable of. But you can miss someone and still know you made the right decision. Both things can be true. That's adulthood, I think. Realising grief doesn't always mean you chose wrong. Sometimes it just means something mattered, even if it ended badly. I don't hate him. I'm not carrying that around forever. Life's too expensive for that, emotionally speaking. What I do have now is clarity and peace, but the earned kind. Not the fake kind you build by pretending something shady isn't happening because you don't feel like dealing with it. I used to think losing a marriage meant losing the life you built. Now, I think sometimes you lose the lie and keep the life, a better one. Actually, I didn't lose him. I lost the version of my life that wasn't real. And if I'm being honest, that was overdue. So tell me honestly, would you have handled it the same way? Would you have confronted him the second you found out? Do you think people like that ever really change? Or do we just get better at seeing them for who they are? I read more comments than you'd think, so I'm actually curious what you'd say. And if this felt a little too familiar, you're not the only one.